Thank you, everybody. Early in the year, January, kicking off another year, and the first in our series of the 2022 Building Blocks for Success webinars. So we're going to have 5 of these, and today it's all about capturing more leads and boosting your enrollment. So some of the things that we're hearing from the industry, from our customers, really all across the world, in terms of how we can help and how you guys can engage a little bit more. So for today's agenda, we're going to go over the challenges with today's parent experience. So the parent journey, some of the inconvenient and time-consuming aspects of this, not just for parents, but for you as well. What you need to know about millennial parents. Millennial parents are on the rise. We talk a lot about the millennial generation. It's the largest one right now, and it's at that age where they're showing up everywhere. How the parent experience affects enrollment and retention. And then we also want to share with you some best practices that you can implement today on ways for parents to inquire online, how follow-up impacts enrollment rates, and using lead tracking to streamline and grow. So the challenge today, so the parent experience, what we talk about when we say the parent experience is we're talking about the journey that a parent goes through from the first time they engage with your center or your organization, whether that be searching the website online or filling out some type of form, all the way through their child aging out. And there's these different key conversion points along the way. So right now, if you think about your process as it is at your own businesses, how long is it taking? How much start and stop is there? What's the break in communication? So one of the big things here to understand when we talk about parents, when we talk about the buying journey, are what I like to call triggering events. So what makes a parent search for care? What do they do when they search for care? I think the obvious one right off the bat is, well, mom gets pregnant, they're through the pregnancy, and they know that they're going to have to put their child in care. You know, that's a good one to catch someone really early and often. But we talk about retention because if a family's not happy at your center, that's going to cause them to look for care as well. If they're ready to go back out, it's going to cause them to look. And as they're looking, now they're going to engage with you in some way. And we'll talk about some of those along the ways. But then it's reaching out, it's communication, it's the tour. So there's these key touch points along the way. So how do we make this process as frictionless as possible? Meaning it's really easy for parents not only to find out information, find the right relevant information, but also to engage with you, with your directors, with your business in the multiple areas where they are. So there's a couple key things that are causing what I like to call this friction or the slowdown in the parent process today. So the number one thing that you'll see with some of these common challenges is around the actual follow-up process and communication itself. So the first 3 right here, slow or no response to new inquiries and tour requests. Wasted time, back and forth. So emails, calls, scheduling, rescheduling, no shows. How are you managing all that? And then no follow-up after the tour is completed to discuss the next steps. So if you think about your center today and how you guys are handling the tours, how much of your day is spent doing these different items? So directors, assistant directors, really busy. We ask them to do a lot in our industry, from running the center to sometimes cleaning it, to stepping in the kitchen, to stepping in the classroom. One of the big things, at the start of this was staffing. So directors subbing in on classrooms. There's a lot of things that are going on. We put a lot on our directors. So how are you engaging parents? Making sure nothing falls through the cracks, giving them that experience. The other thing we talk about too is making sure that we are focusing on these tasks that drive enrollment. So time-consuming and lengthy paperwork. I think that goes a lot into the back and forth. So it's about managing these key functions that really not only fill your center, but get to the wait list. And then once you're there, keep families happy and keep them there, because If as a director, you can work on these areas, right? These are all really important. If as a business, you can have help in these areas, these big challenge areas. Well, if they don't become challenges anymore, the directors are doing things they love. So with these challenges, what parents really want instead, they want convenience when they're searching for things online. And they really want self-serve options. So we talk about millennials. I'm going to pause on these two really quickly, right? Immediate responses in text is important, but convenience and self-serve, your parents, the millennials who are searching for your center, they're going to do research online. They're going to Google, they're reading the Google reviews, they're looking at more than one center at one time. And how you engage with them in these first moments, even when you're not doing anything yet, is going to be a big determination into how these families feel about your center right off the bat. So it's about meeting parents where they are, giving them multiple options wherever they're searching for you, allowing them, right, to self-serve themselves, and then being able to communicate quickly and the way that millennial parents like to communicate. So immediate responses and text communication. So when you think about what parents want, why parents want these things, and how you're set up to really make sure that you're meeting parents where they're at, it comes into a big overall picture of what the buyer journey looks like today. Now, there is a lot on this slide. So I'm going to pause for a moment and go pretty slow through this and start out right at the beginning. So again, when we talk about the parent journey and what we're doing, I want you to think a little bit for your own centers or your own businesses right now. How are you engaging with families? Are you set up with the website? Are you set up with contact us forms? How long does it take you to respond? Where are parents coming in through? Is it email? Is it walk-in? Is it phone? So all of these different areas, you're managing a lot. And we talked about this frictionless option, and we talk about millennials and what it looks like today. So 51% of all new leads are coming in via an online form. So parents are going online, they're doing their research, they're reaching out. And when a parent reaches out, what are they looking for? Right? Not only do they want to talk about your center, but hopefully there's been some type of educational information. Why are you offering the programs you're offering? What type of educational environment do you have? What's it like to go there? What to expect on day one? You know, this is really your digital footprint of meeting a parent right away and saying, okay, well, this is great. We know that you're going to come to us online. If there's not a lot of information online, you're making it hard for a parent to know more information about you on their own, which we know is really important to them. The other thing, people work. You know, what we're seeing now more and more is women are staying in the workforce longer. They're encouraged to do so. It's a wonderful thing. But what that means is that these moms or new and expecting moms are working during the day. They don't have as much time before from 6 to 6 when you are doing your working hours to reach out. So when we think about quick responses, responding after hours, how are you guys set up, again, to help engage families when you're not even there? Working within parents when they can reach out and they can find information. So I think when we talk right away about some of these issues up front that are hurting your potential enrollment, how are parents finding out about you? What information are you giving? When they come to your website, how quickly are you responding? So as a best practice, responding in under 10 minutes is ideal. So again, thinking a little bit about how you guys are operating in your own businesses, how long does it take for you to respond to a parent normally? And if we're being honest, is it within 10 minutes? Is it even the same day? Sometimes is it 1 or 2 days later? If a parent calls, are you checking your voicemails? Are you sitting by your desk? If somebody walks in, how readily available are we? So, you know, there's all these different avenues. And again, directors are busy. It's not for a lack of care. It's not for a lack of effort. It's for a lack of time. That really sometimes impacts some of these big areas. So how are we setting ourselves up to make it easy for parents to eliminate the friction and then finding information about you and about us? How are we doing it so that we can respond quickly without adding extra burden? And as you think about the different ways to do this, you then have this other big event right there in the middle, the green heart, right? You're giving a tour. So how are you showing up for your parents? I always kind of like to think about this like a first date. You know, when you're out on a first date, you're always going to give your best impression first, right? You're going to come, you want to be really clean, you want to be on your best behavior, you want to have your manners there. Not that you don't do that all the time, but the first one, everyone's always trying their hardest. So you want to make sure, whether it's your center being set up right, whether it's prepping a little bit ahead of time, but you're giving that really good first impression, because your tour and these communications are a way to set yourself apart from the competition. And we know parents are going to look at more than one center. So one trick that I've heard, that I've seen really good results from, is something just as simple as putting a welcome sign with the parents' names when they're coming in for the tour, so that they can see that right there. Hey, welcome, Mike. We're happy to have you and child's name. And then if there are any type of allergies, specific programs or needs, how have you gathered that to make sure that you address it in the tour? So now you're talking to the parents about what they care about, as well as sharing other things. So this is, again, one of those moments where if you come into the tour and you're running around, it's a little bit chaotic, because we know centers are chaotic. How is that coming off to the parents? And how can you set yourself up to win that tour and to have a high conversion? The last thing as part of this is it's time to retain. So when we talk about families and we talk about touring, we all talk about, well, we want to enroll them, we want to get them in, we want to get them going for day one. So once you've filled out your enrollment forms, once you've taken that registration fee, once you get them there for day one, how are you doing after that? So we know happy children lead to happy parents. Happy parents lead to word of mouth referral. So by being able to give a really good enrollment process, getting a parent to day one, and being able to eliminate some of this inconvenient and time-consuming work, not only for the parents, but for the directors themselves, it frees everybody up. And when everybody's more free, it means those directors can do what they love and what they're best at. Spending time with the children, with the staff, in the center and in the community, which is going to give a great experience for every parent and family, and they're going to want their friends to go. And now this is how you develop wait lists. And this is how you really use your center and the money that you're already spending to continue to grow leads. So there's a lot of little individual sections in here. I wanted to touch on those three, really the beginning, the middle, and the end, because you can put those into action right now and today. And the other thing is knowing your parents. So a lot of numbers and a lot of stats on here. The big one that's not is that 80% of parents today are millennials. So 8 out of 10, almost every parent that walks through your door is a millennial. So if you don't know your parents well, it's going to be really hard for you to communicate and engage with them in a way that's meaningful. The other thing with parents growing up in a digital age, they have different expectations. So there's a couple numbers in here that I would like to call out that I think were really impactful, and that from our customers and from our industry, we're hearing is really impactful as well. So number one, 21% of a millennial's day is spent on their mobile phone. I'm not foolish. Think about it. How many of you have maybe looked at your phone so far since we've been on this webinar? Could be a quick look, but you're there. That's where people spend a lot of their time, 21% of your day for the millennials. The other one, 40% of millennials prefer self-service over human contact with businesses. 40%, that's almost half. That number, we've seen it increase every single year. And in light of the recent events that have gone on the last couple years here, People want to know they can find out all the information they need without having to leave their home. They just feel better there. And before they engage in a conversation, millennial parents, they want to know what they're talking about. They want to know, am I spending my time wisely? Which goes down to the bottom right. 73% of millennials say that valuing their time is important. So when we talk about this specifically, we've talked a lot about back and forth communication, delayed responses, not meeting parents where they're at, a lot of back and forth information. So when you think about the value of time, every extra interaction is an extra burden you're putting on parents that somebody else might not be. The other one, 48% of millennials prefer to receive notices about payments through text. And 50% of millennials prefer to receive reminders through their mobile device. So there's a big theme here. It's millennials want to be hands-off. They want to do their research on their own. They spend a lot of time on their phone, through apps, through text, through payments. And that's, the last one here too, right? 60% of millennials like to communicate via text messaging. So when you think about right now, millennial parents, some of the things that we've discussed so far on this webinar and some of these stats right now, how are you delivering on these for your prospective parents and for your current parents? Do you have texting set up? Are you doing it normally? What's your website look like? Are you set up there? How fast are you responding to parents? And when you do respond, what type of information are you responding with? So what does this all mean? So we talk about an optimized parent experience versus an unoptimized parent experience. Where can this lead us? So meeting parents where they're at is a surefire way to set yourself up to succeed. Think about the brands that you enjoy engaging with the most. Think about how you buy things online. What is that like for you? And are you giving your parents the same experience? So when we think about this optimized parent experience, you're giving parents what they want, and that is a very magnetic trait. All of a sudden, they're happy, they're engaged, they're communicating. And when we talk about things like return on investment, what are you doing for your marketing spend? How much is tuition? How much does that mean for a year? When you start talking about predictability in your business, and I know some of these can sometimes be dirty words when we're mixing business with childcare, but having a really healthy business on the financial side means that you don't have to worry about that as much, meaning that you get to spend time in the center, in the community. And for those of you with potential growth plans, maybe opening a second, third, fourth, nth number of centers, this becomes more and more important. So when you think about optimizing the parent journey, you're getting this predictability. And that's where, when some of you on the onset of the call says you were talking about staffing, you were talking about wait list, this is how you know, well, if I know that I have a wait list, maybe I can pay my teachers a little bit more, and that's a competitive advantage. If I'm managing my wait list, maybe I know if there's an opening, when a family is going to be eligible, and I can reach out to that family proactively ahead of an opening even happening. The flip side of this, missing leads, not following up after a tour, losing parents. There's a scenario out there. I was talking to someone not too long ago, and we were talking about the follow-up and the response time, both from a new enrollment standpoint, right when they filled out a contact us form, and also after a tour. And as we were talking, this company, they said on average, it took them 2 to 3 days to get back to parents in any form of communication. And so I asked them, how often do parents not respond back to you? And if this is resonating, for you at all, if you're getting back to parents a couple of days later or a day later, and you're not hearing back from parents, the odds are is because they found somewhere else or they're engaged with another company. So you can lose an enrollment before you even get a chance. And that's when we talk about this unoptimized performance. And after a tour, when you've got an opportunity to really communicate with a family, to really give them that great post-tour experience, oh my God, it was so great to speak with you. How are you guys doing that? And again, if there's a lag there, somebody else might be doing that. So it's all about these little touch points. And we talk a lot about this in all these different areas that it shows up. It's really meaningful. So how can you help? Right? How can you help yourself? How can you help your parents? How can you help your directors? Well, the first one is optimizing your website. So we talked a little bit about the content you can put on your website, the education, making sure it's there, it's up to date, that you've got pictures and information. But one of the easiest ways to optimize your website is by putting a landing page or capture form right there. This means that parents are coming in, they're getting information, and you can have really powerful automation behind that. So now, even if it's after hours, you're responding to parents in real time. You're able to communicate with them the way that they want. And it allows you to continue to work without actually being there. Showcasing your programs. So this is all about being everywhere. So there are some large lead gen platforms out there that parents are engaging with, these marketplaces, Winnie and Kinside. So 51% of our centers currently are integrated with platforms like this. And because parents, again, we talked about this, they're going to do research ahead of time. How can you get the widest reach? And the great thing about these lead gen platforms is they have both free and paid options. So you can start one way, you can get paid, you can promote your center, and you know that parents are going to be there. And the other thing is strengthening your social media presence. So 90% of today's parents are on Facebook. This is a great way, not only for you to engage with parents, but you know parents are going to talk to each other. So social proof is really strong. So how are you engaging with parents? How are you engaging with current parents? What are you doing in your center day to day that you can show off, that you can brand, that you can use to set yourself apart? And make parents feel like they know you before they even get there and before they even reach out. So another area is the lead response time. So 80% of the centers that follow up first, or I'm sorry, the center that follow up first has an 80% higher chance of gaining that enrollment. That's a really big number. That's coming straight from our research into how parents make a decision and who's winning enrollments. And that's why when you see something like contacting a lead 5 minutes into their inquiry, it's 21 times more effective. So if you're thinking about your business today, we talked about it a little bit ago. How long is it taking you to follow up? So this is, again, where you can leverage tools and build automation into your communication that will allow you to respond to parents while you sleep, or while you're in a classroom, or while you're stepping away. And this automation, when you're keeping that communication really organized, not only are you responding in real time, not only are you basically getting an assistant to help you respond to parents while you're so busy, but you're keeping all that information organized so that every communication you have, when you do pick up the phone, when you do schedule that tour, when you do have an in-person, when you are sending that paperwork out, when you're taking those payments, you've got that information there and it maintains that personal, really close touch. The other thing, 30 to 50% of leads are converted by those who follow up with them first. So this is just a move first, move fast. It's how millennials buy. And again, if you are in an area where there's a lot of childcare centers, where they have a lot of options, and think about it, there are a lot of different things out there. Parents can keep their kids at home. They can put their kids with a friend. There's at-home daycares. There's your centers. There's other different programs out there that are available. How are you making sure that you're the one that they choose? So this quick response time is a really big indicator of how happy parents are with you. And then finally, just some best practices, right? We're all really busy. So we talked about it briefly, automate confirmation emails and text message to be sent immediately after a parent submits. So somebody's reaching out to do business with you. Thank you. And then you can even set the stage about the time that you're going to call and follow up so those parents know to expect it. If you do automate, if you do have automated tours on your website, you could even send a link to that right in the email. So it's another way to be like, hey, parent, are you ready to tour right away? Great, click right here and you can schedule a time with us. Reminders. So if you guys have parents who are maybe missing tours, if you guys are doing a lot of rescheduling, the reminders are a really nice way, not only for parents, but for you and the staff to know, hey, we got this tour coming up. Let's make sure that we're still there. So if rescheduling does need to happen, it happens ahead of time, not same day or not just a missed tour, which wastes time in your day, but also it helps parents show up much more regularly. And you can prepare for the tour yourself. The last thing, if the family doesn't enroll right at the end of the tour, you want to make sure that you contact them to follow up. Do you have any other questions? Thanks for coming. Here's an article that might be relevant to something that we spoke about during the tour. Could you give us a call? So these are very warm, very friendly, very good interactions that continue to make the parents feel like, oh my God, these people are on top of it. When I send my child here, I'm going to feel really comfortable knowing that the most important thing to me is in really good hands because these people are responsive. They're quick. They know all about what they're doing, and they've helped me get educated on the right choice that I should make. The last thing here is knowing where your leads are coming from. So on average, tracking leads help a business earn 30% more annual revenue. Why is this? Well, it's because you want to know where parents are finding you and what's working. So we talked a lot about these different sort of avenues where parents are at. There's Facebook, there's Google, there's community events, direct mail, listing directories. You might have billboards or signs out. You're spending money. You're spending money to get parents' attention. Are you spending it in the right area? And are you spending it in the right spots? Is the messaging right? So parents come from all areas, right? Some of them higher income, some of them lower income. Are you even marketing to parents in the right area where it makes sense? That's all the information that you can get when it comes to lead tracking. And that's why it can be so impactful in such a short amount of time. And we all know you can never have enough money. So being able to save it and spend it responsibly in a couple areas, again, what does that mean for you? Well, if you're saving money on marketing, maybe you're spending it on teachers, or maybe you're spending it on programs, or any other area right now in your business that you wish you could bolster up. This could help in that area. And of course, like anything else, because you are reaching out, because parents are in a lot of different areas, having a diverse set of leads is important. So whether it's organic and paid, they can work in unison, as well as some of these other areas that we just touched upon. So tracking your leads and where they're coming from also will help you with your messaging. So your center is unique. Parents care about different things. So if you're investing in this, it can help you talk to parents the right way, go to the right areas. And when these leads are coming in, if you're there, one of the unsung parts of this is how are we converting by all these different segments? So it's going to help you understand your business, understand your parents, and offer better coaching for where you can improve if you need it, where you can spend your money, and ultimately better conversion on leads. So as we wrap things up here, before we get ready to go into a Q&A, we wanted to share a case study about improving performance and reporting with New Horizon Academy. So one of the things that they really enjoyed was our dashboards and reports so they could see what's happening across their organization. So for those of you who are out there and those of you who are with us, how many of you know where are your leads coming from? How much money are you spending per lead? What's your conversion percentage per lead? How many parents are enrolling? Do you know why they're not enrolling with you? So these reports, they allow you, if you have multiple centers, understand what location parents are interested in. It allows you to track where parents are coming from, evaluate that marketing spend, and really assess the return on investment. Again, are we spending our money wisely so that we can continue to grow our business, whether that's one center or 85 like New Horizons? So the lost opportunity report was a really great one for them. And one of the stories I always like to tell about the lost opportunity report that's not here is we've had customers who have come to us with a lost opportunity report that have said, well, parents are not coming to us just because we're not open at the right times. So just by being able to understand that and open their center earlier, they were able to better serve the parents in their area, to fill their center up, and then get to a wait list. So the next step here, we're going to open it up to questions in a moment. But an email tomorrow is going to come. So you can get your copy of our Building Blocks for Success report, download a certificate of attendance, and also we'll be sending out a recording of the webinar here. If you enjoyed what you heard here today, and if you're interested in more information, if you're interested in seeing and talking about how Childcare CRM can help you with your parent enrollment journey and engaging and help support you today in a lot of those initiatives that we discussed, you can visit childcarecrm.com, or it's sales@childcarecrm.com. So a little typo in the email there. Nobody's immune to a little mistake every now and then, but we're not sales. We're sales without the I. And we would love to hear from all of you, get you in touch with our team and show you what we've got.